Okay, so to start off, we're going to create a rather simple product, and I'm going to introduce you to the 3D working area within OnShape. So if you click on Create first of all, and go Document, and name your document. So I'm just going to make a rather simple box. It's quite a good practice just put your initials in as well. So if you share it with somebody, then you'll always be able to see who owns it. So within OnShape, you'll be greeted with 3 planes, okay, spelt P-L-A-N-E. So these 3 planes, imagine them like 3 pieces of glass, all intersecting with one another, or as I described to some people, imagine like you've got a box, okay? So this would be the front of the box. I'm clicking on it and you can see that it's highlighted in orange. This would be the right side to the box, and then this would be the top of the box. So I'm going to go in straight away and start drawing on my front plane. Now imagine if you were drawing on a piece of paper on a table. I wouldn't draw it at an angle. I would look at it bird's eye view on. So to do that, I'm going to click on front. So this little area down up at the top right corner, that allows me to orientate my page so that I can view it from the front. I'm then going to go into sketch. Now before I click on that, just watch what happens here on the left hand side. As I click on sketch, it adds a sketch to the left hand side, so my sketch 1. And because I had that front plane selected, you'll see it was in orange. It has now selected it, and you can see I'm sketching on my front plane. So I'm just going to show you that again. I'm just going to put it back to isometric 3D view. So if I click on my front plane, that's the plane that I want to draw on, view it from the front, and click on sketch. So I'm now in sketch mode. I can start sketching my first sketch. So try to ignore what you see on the page at the moment, because you haven't actually drawn anything. So you've got a number of different drawing tools at the top, and because I'm starting with a box, I'm going to select, not corner point rectangle, I'm going to select the center point rectangle. So next to the square tool or the corner rectangle tool, you see this little drop down arrow. That allows me to extend my toolbar, and it's a center point rectangle that I'm going to select. So from the center, I'm going to click and drag out. Now it doesn't matter at this stage what the sizes are, because I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So randomly I've got something like 63 and 68. After I've pressed click, okay, I can now go to my dimension tool and I can grab that top line, click and drag out, and I can change that value, and I'm just going to set it to 100, so that's 100 millimeters, and change that on the right hand side to 100 millimeters. Now because I've used a corner point rectangle, just going to press enter there, because I've used a center point rectangle, I've drawn it from the center, everything is centered around my planes. So if I press green tick and go back to isometric view, you'll be able to see that the square that I've drawn is on the front plane. Now if you use your right mouse button and hold it down, you can just rotate around and see that I've drawn that square on that plane. Now if you get into a bit of a mess, you can just click on isometric, or if you want to view it from the front again, you can just double click on the front there. So you can see in my feature tree on the left hand side, I've now got my sketch. I can go back in and edit that at any time by right clicking and pressing edit. I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm going to create my first 3D feature. So if I click on extrude, a little dialog box should then appear, and it asks me to select the sketch regions that I wish to extrude. So I'm going to select the sketch that I've just drawn, and you can see that it has now made that 3D. So the second element in the dialog box asks me to give a depth. So to make a perfect cube, I'm going to enter 100 in there and press green tick. Now I've got my perfect 100 by 100 by 100 3D cube. So that's the start of how I would generate a 3D product or a 3D model in OnShape.